For the second time in 3 weeks, Kahawa Pride's league match has been canceled due to weather, and not just any weather. The wet season is in full swing, hitting our city of Nairobi extremely hard last week with torrential downpours that left much of the city underwater. Between Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th, 4.4 inches of rain fell, almost an entire inch more than is what expected for the entire month, leaving our home grounds of Mahika Primary looking more like a swamp than a football pitch. Despite the unfortunate weather, we still have plenty of action to cover from last week, from multiple new international visitors, an amazing event for National Women's Day, and a visit from one of America's top universities. You are now watching Road to the Kenyan Premier League. What's up, everyone? My name is Hayes Knupp, JerseyBird founder and your host of Road to the Kenyan Premier League. Before we get into it, if you want to support this project, there are 3 main ways to do so. First up is the KPFC 10 for 10 deal. If your club is in need of new kits and apparel, start a project with JerseyBird. Tell us you came from this Road to the KPL series, and you will receive 10% off your order with another 10% donated directly to our club. Go to JerseyBird.com, tap Start a Project, and we will create some awesome kits for your club, just like the ones you see in our videos. Next, we have the Lion's Den, the official Discord server for the club, where we host watch-along parties, vote on club decisions, and discuss unreleased news with myself and staff members. Go check it out. It is one of the best communities out there. And lastly, if you just want a simple way to donate, go to kahawapridefc.paperform.co. You can contribute to various aspects of the club, and I've also added a category for the Lionesses as they have begun their own journey to the Women's Premier League. We've also organized a fundraiser for Westlife United's player who suffered a severe leg injury in their last match. He required urgent surgery, which hit the player and the club very hard financially, so we are collecting contributions for them through this Friday. And as always, any partnership inquiries can be directed to kahawapridefc@jerseybird.com. I will link all of these support methods in the description below. As always, thank you for the support. Now back to the video. Starting off with our headline for this video, 16 MBA students from Lehigh University visited our club on Monday to study the challenges and opportunities of global business in Kenya, specifically in Nairobi. And Matthias, our CEO, along with Otto, our technical director, led a great conversation that went on for well over 2 hours. If you aren't familiar with American universities, Lehigh, based in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, regularly ranks in the country's top 50 universities, has an acceptance rate of just 25% in graduate programs that regularly travel the world. I sat down with Megan Van Vooris, the Senior Director of Program Management and Operations at Lehigh, and Professor Doug Mahoney to get some more insights on the event. Please give an introduction on yourselves and your roles at Lehigh.
Go ahead, Megan.
Oh, I get to go first. Great. So it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Megan Van Vooris. I am the Senior Director of Program Management and Operations for the College of Business at Lehigh University. My role at Lehigh is to oversee the student experience with our team from the time of deposit through graduation. So I get the pleasure of working with our MBA student populations, which is what brought me and Doug to Kenya.
Hi, I'm Doug Mahoney. I'm a professor in the management department at Lehigh University. I've been there for about 16 years, and I've been running programs like this for the last 14 years, although just for 4 years with the MBA students.
So my first question is, what course are these students a part of, and what were they seeking to get out of this trip to Kenya?
So the course is just a global business immersion. It has a rather generic title. It's a course that's an elective for them, and so we actively recruit students to go on these kinds of programs. The goal is really, well, there are 3 goals that I have for these kinds of programs. The first and foremost for me is to get students out of the classroom and into rather dynamic business environments that they're not going to be familiar with. So we try to avoid kind of Europe and countries that they've likely traveled to in the past, but go find locations that have really dynamic business environments where there's either an emerging economy or really underdeveloping an economy, or an economy that's really central to the region. And that's really been kind of the core behind the decision making for these types of programs. The other is kind of the cultural aspect. We like to get them immersed in a culture different from their own, ones they're not likely to have encountered before, both to provide them with a greater sense of understanding of how to communicate and interact in a global business context, challenge themselves a little bit, and have a lot of fun at the same time. So we try to pick locations that are really compelling, culturally speaking, which Nairobi really checked a lot of those boxes. And the third reason, when I think some of the students like it the most, it's a flex MBA program, so a good number of them are remote the whole time. And this gives them a chance to really get together and bond with their colleagues that they otherwise either just see as a little tile on a screen or occasionally in a class if they're lucky enough to be able to attend in person.
Doug talked a little bit about the students challenging themselves and not just in a business sense, right? With the comfort of being in a boardroom or speaking to higher level executives. I think challenging their own biases that they might have or challenging themselves to get outside of their comfort zone in general. Sometimes students go on these global immersions and they've never been out of the United States. And that's when I really love watching the student experience unfold. I've been lucky enough to go with Doug for the past few years. So we've gone to Singapore, we did Vietnam, Dubai, and this year, Kenya.
I know this is not the first time that Lehigh has gone to Africa. You've done a lot of different things. You've even worked in soccer in Kenya with the Soccer Queens, Premier League club on the women's side. But how did Kahawa Pride enter the picture? I mean, we're a 5th division club, just kind of getting off the ground. How did this story come into contact with your organization?
Through my son, actually. So he's 16 and he knew I was planning this trip to Nairobi, and he'd been tracking you guys for quite a while. And one evening he said, "Hey, you should really look at them." And so I had you guys in the back of my mind for about a week or so. And then I met with Megan and we were just brainstorming organizations and outcomes that her husband and son is a huge fan as well.
Oh, wow.
And they've been watching for months and months and have been following Kahawa Pride's growth and rapid expansion. So we have watched the games. My 10-year-old has live streamed them from home in Pennsylvania, and he's been very into watching the difference in play, the fact that they play on a dirt field, right? There's a lot of really neat cultural elements to expose a 10-year-old to. So it's been really nice watching him grow in that way as well. So when he brought it up with my husband, he said, "You should just reach out." And I said, "Do you think they'll respond?" So when I brought it up to Doug, he said, "Absolutely." Gavin, his son, had talked to him about Kahawa Pride. So I think definitely having some football lovers in the family helped bring Kahawa Pride to our fingertips and to physically in the meeting room with us yesterday, which is really exciting.
It was kind of fun, just the way it all transpired. And Megan's like, "Do you think that we should reach out?" And we're like, "Let's do it." And we were really happy that you responded quickly and so positively.
Getting into the presentation with Matthias and Otto, what were your initial thoughts on it? And then what was some of the student feedback? What did they think of the topics discussed and everything like that?
I shouldn't be surprised because you guys are so transparent, but I was really surprised to have the authenticity that came across and just the sheer honesty and the experience that you guys are going through. Not to bring up the Betway example, but that was one.
It's a great one. Yeah, I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, and I think that opened our students' eyes up a lot. So really hearing them talk about their journey and kind of the purpose behind the club and the purpose behind the project, their relationship with you, the integrity with which they approach sponsorship opportunities, and when having that kind of outreach was, to me, eye-opening in a lot of ways. And I think it was well to the students. It was a really nice kind of insight into kind of the cultural side of Kenya as well, and how you're really trying to serve a community and build a sustainable business model, and do so with partnerships that are around the globe, and that it's growing and taking off at the same time, but faced with a lot of challenges, and they were honest about those challenges. So to me, that was one of the best takeaways, and I think for the students as well.
Absolutely. The students really talked about Matthias's approach about educating the players on what is life after football, right? This is not just football and you're a player and you're treated as such, but that holistic approach of you're an individual, you're a part of this community, you're a part of this family. So let's prepare you for what that's going to look like when you're no longer able to play. So I think that was a really important takeaway where the students really see just how much Kahawa Pride cares. And it's not just business transactions of getting players into the club and turning them out and leaving once they're no longer be able to produce, but the fact that you guys educate them on personal branding and how to interact with social media. I think just learning about the differences in Kenyan football culture and how different it would be to watch a match here versus at home, right? With the dirt bikes that go across the pitch, which is all dirt, which is very different than what we're used to. And when goals are scored, that the locals are running onto the field, right? That's not what we usually see in Pennsylvania. And Matthias was saying even in Swedish soccer. So I think they really loved hearing about that celebration and how it's so ingrained in the community here. And one of the students said, I really feel that type of celebration and cultural embrace is something that deserves to be preserved. So I think Kahawa Pride as a whole is doing a really nice job of making sure that you're preserving that football culture here and helping it grow in a very positive way, not just for Kenyans, but also for the people like myself or Doug or our children who are logging in from all over the world to be a part of the story.
I want to give a huge shout out to Doug, Megan, and the entire University of Lehigh. We truly appreciate the visit. And Lehigh plays in the Patriot League Championship today in just 6 hours. A win puts them into the March Madness tournament. We are all Mountain Hawks today, and I now have a second team after my Vols to cheer for this year. Speaking of international visitors, we now have 5 travelers who have come to visit the club. First up was Joel. You might remember him. He was a fan who came all the way from Honduras to catch one of our friendlies. It also happened to be his birthday, so we made sure he had a great time and he got to meet all the boys. After that, Alex came to visit from Russia. He got a full tour of the clubhouse with team manager Zach and a few others. We showed him around the entire house, from the basement to the rooftop to everything in between. It was another great visit. And last weekend, Konstantin from Germany came to visit and he got a clubhouse tour as well and played some pool with Manyao. Throughout the season, we've also been in contact with Connor from Rome East Photography. He shot our first match of the season against Terror Squad, and we hope to see him at more games in the future. And last but not least, we have Ryan. He is a professional football coach from England who is now living in Nairobi. He's helped out as a referee and a match analyst, really getting involved with the community so far this season. So between the US, Sweden, Honduras, Russia, Germany, England, and the millions of fans online, we really are becoming one of the world's most global football clubs. Last weekend was also a big event for the women in our organization, as it was International Women's Day, and the entire club got together in collaboration with Her Game 2, one of the Lioness's partners, for a day of football, food, and fun, just showing our appreciation to all the women athletes and staff within our club that play crucial roles in the operation of our program. In other Lionesses news, they hosted their first ever film review session covering their 4-1 win last week, a big step for the program as they are also aiming for promotion this season. And with a huge match this week against a newly relegated RDU women's squad, the same club that the men just lost to, it'll be a good test to see if our squad is ready for the next level. Last episode, I mentioned that we had added significant staff throughout February, so I wanted to introduce them all properly. Starting off with Benson Kamani. He is the head coach of Mapogo and the lead medic for the men's team. Next, we have Carol Wambui, the Lionesses head coach and one of 2 stat keepers on the ground at every men's match. Then there's Cynthia Achieng. She is the second stat keeper and is also a part of the house staff. Followed by David Mugure, the kit manager for the Alphas, Lionesses, and Mapogo squads, making sure all the kits and the balls and equipment are where they need to be every single day, whether it's just a regular training session or if it's a match day. Then we have Hannah Mwanja, the head chef of the clubhouse, always cooking up great meals for the boys. Next is John Kamau. He is both a content creator and the captain of Mapogo. He is responsible for many of the sideline clips you've seen in our videos recently. We also have Julianne Wambui, the lead medic for the Lionesses, but she is also at every single Alphas match working alongside Benson. Getting into our final four, we have Mary Mburu. She is the head caretaker at the clubhouse, making sure kits are washed, the house stays clean, and everything is operating smoothly. Next is Naomi Chege. She's an assistant chef working with Hannah, helping prepare those 3 meals a day for all our players, which is no easy task. We also have Yvonne Wanjiru, another sideline content creator, always getting clips at both the men's and women's matches. And last but not least, we have Zipporah Ngugi, lead gardener at the house, which brings me to our next topic, big improvements to the backyard, which I will now refer to as a farm, because Zipporah has officially planted our first batch of crops, a full row of kale plants, which will soon be harvested twice per month to support the meal plan. And more importantly, it will be an educational tool for the Cubs and younger members of the club to learn about urban farming and how to grow crops in tight spaces. The boys spent an entire day cleaning up the space, as we also plan to raise chickens and grow other crops on the farm soon. KSSA, the parent organization of Kahawa Pride, is not new to urban farming. Otto and Susan co-founded Mia Namamea back in 2021, an initiative that taught the next generation how to farm in urban spaces, a highly valuable skill in Nairobi. Moving into the weather, I mentioned it in the intro, but the full scope and damage of it is actually very severe. First off, this type of rain is not normal in Nairobi. The 112 millimeters of rain between last Friday and last Saturday was the highest 24-hour period of rain since May of 2015's infamous 189 millimeter day. More than 100 vehicles were left stranded over the weekend, making travel nearly impossible, and the death toll as of March 9th is 42 and counting. Over the past few days, the rain has subsided a little bit, and hopefully a storm like that won't happen again anytime soon. And lastly, we want to send our condolences to James Zioka, a homegrown talent and former starting keeper for Kahawa Pride. He led us through our entire 2023-24 campaign. Unfortunately, his father passed away, so a few of our players and staff traveled southeast to Kikima to honor him and attend the funeral.
Sisi kama marafiki zake kutoka Kahawa Pride family, Bedside family, tuko wengi na tutaacha kusimama na yeye.
That's all I have for this video. No match to cover this week, but still plenty of headlines. Our next league match, if the weather stays nice, will be this Saturday, March 14th at 3 p.m. East African time. That's noon in London and 8 a.m. in New York. Our North American fans can finally catch a break with the daylight savings clock change last Sunday. Match times are now 1 hour later for us. So come tune in to the stream this Saturday. We will be live right here on the JerseyBird YouTube channel against Mentors FC, who currently sit first on the table. So it's another huge test for us and a big opportunity to bounce back after back-to-back losses. As always, you can catch new episodes of Road to the Kenyan Premier League every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all for the incredible amount of support, and I'll see you in the next one.